looking forward to having you speak at the Truth Lectures that's going to be coming up in June. And as you know, the subject of the Truth Lectures is going to be on when we meet in sweet communion. And so we've invited you to speak and address a certain topic. But first of all, I just wanted to ask you, tell me something about yourself.
Well, I actually preach in Columbia, Tennessee. I work with the Jackson Heights Church of Christ in Columbia, Tennessee. Before moving here, I did 5 years of local work in Leesburg, Florida. And I actually trained to preach in Beaumont, Texas with the Dowling Road Church. I am from Texas. I grew up in East Texas and Nacogdoches, Texas. That's the oldest town in Texas.
Yep.
And there I met my wonderful wife. We've been married for 14 years. We have 2 children, a little boy and a little girl. And I just love preaching the gospel. I've dedicated the last 11 years of my life preaching. And it's just a wonderful thing to be able to work for the Lord. And I don't regret that decision at all.
Well, that's wonderful. You and I have sort of taken almost the opposite track as far as where we lived. I was born and raised in Middle Tennessee and have spent most of my life in Texas preaching near the area where you grew up. And you've flipped it and started in Texas and ended up in Tennessee.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, as far as the lecture itself, now you've been assigned the topic, the Lord's Supper's relationship to the kingdom.
Right.
And tell me something about what you plan to address at the 9 o'clock hour on Tuesday morning.
Well, the Lord Jesus in Matthew 26, and I have my Bible here, so I'll kind of look at the text just to make sure I say it right. But Jesus says something very interesting in Matthew 26:29, something that even among the people of God has been discussed widely, and people still have a lot of questions about it. And it's when Jesus says in verse number 29 of Matthew 26, but I say to you, I will not drink of this fruit of the vine from now on until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. So here Jesus seems to be talking with his disciples about a time when he would be partaking of the Lord's Supper with his people, the citizens in his kingdom in the future. The question I want to try to address is, when is that? And what exactly does all that entail? How does Jesus drink it new with us in the Father's kingdom if we're members of the Lord's kingdom or church? I want to address that question. I want to talk about how Jesus does that, why he does that, and then make some practical application as to what that should mean for us when we partake of it every Sunday as the people of God today. So it's a very interesting verse. I think it's one that maybe we don't talk about as much as we should, but people do have questions about it. And I hope that God will bless me to be able to address some of those questions that people may have about the Lord's language in that text.